Are you alone? Good. Because this isn't a story you want to hear in the daylight. And definitely not when you're surrounded by people. This story needs darkness and silence, because only then can you hear what really happened to me. My name is Liam. I'm 12 now, but this happened when I was 10, and I haven't spoken about it until tonight, because the last time I saw my babysitter, she didn't leave the way people do. She just vanished. It began on a Monday. My parents were planning to be gone for 5 nights. A medical conference, I think. They promised I'd be fine. Just a babysitter, my mom had said. You'll barely even notice she's there. But I did notice, because the moment Sasha walked in, everything felt off. She was quiet, too quiet. She wore a long gray coat, even though it was 84 degrees outside, and gloves, thin, faded gloves. Who wears gloves in June? Her eyes were strange too, pale gray, like mist, but she didn't look at me, not really. She looked through me, like she already knew something about me that even I didn't. The first night was okay, sort of. She made mac and cheese. She didn't talk while we ate, just stared at the window, not out of the window, at it, like she was waiting to see something in the glass. That night, as I brushed my teeth, I noticed something. She was in the hallway, covering the mirrors, with dark blue cloths. I peeked out. "Why are you doing that?" I asked. She turned slowly, smiled a little. "Mirrors lie at night," she whispered, then turned back around and continued. At 12:06 a.m., I woke up. The house was quiet, too quiet. I sat up. Something felt wrong. The air felt heavy, like before a thunderstorm. My nightlight was still on, but the hallway was pitch black. No light under my door, no creaks, no footsteps, just silence. And then a whisper, very faint, like someone breathing a word into the wall. "Liam." I froze. My heart skipped. Was that Sasha? I slipped out of bed and pressed my ear to the door. Nothing. But when I opened it carefully, slowly, she was standing in the hallway, perfectly still, back straight, hands clasped, facing the wall, not moving, not breathing, just there. I didn't say a word. I just backed up and closed the door. She didn't turn, didn't flinch. That night I barely slept. I heard her whispering around 3 a.m. Not talking, not chanting, just whispering, like to someone or something. The next morning, she made pancakes, acted normal, asked me how I slept, but her smile never touched her eyes. She didn't mention the hallway, and neither did I, because honestly, I was starting to get scared. The rest of the day was quiet. No calls, no visitors. I asked if we could go outside. She said no. Not today. It's not safe. But it's sunny, I said. She just stared at the front door, like someone might be standing behind it, watching. That night, I watched from my doorway as Sasha walked down the hall with her hands full of salt. Yes, salt. She sprinkled it in front of each window, then lined the inside of the front door. "What are you doing?" I asked again. She looked up. "Just being careful." "Careful of what?" She hesitated, then said, "Sometimes things find cracks." She made me go to bed by 9. I stayed up. 9:45. Nothing. 10:32. The house creaked. At 11:07, the hallway light turned off. I hadn't heard the switch. It just clicked. And then soft footsteps, heading to my door. I pretended to sleep. She opened it a crack, stood there. I could feel her eyes on me. She stayed like that for 7 minutes. Yes, I counted. I don't know why. Then she shut the door again, and the hallway fell silent. 3:16 a.m. I woke up, to humming. It was faint, coming from under my floor. The tune was familiar, a lullaby my grandmother used to sing, but she died 2 years ago. I crept to my closet, opened it, and there, in the far back corner, was a small paper, folded, torn at the edges. I opened it. It was a picture of me, sleeping, from last night. I screamed. Sasha rushed in. "What's wrong?" she asked. I held out the photo. This was in my closet. She took it, looked at it, and said nothing. Didn't even pretend to be surprised. She just walked out, whispering, "He's getting closer." Day 3. My parents hadn't called. I tried their numbers. No signal. Tried the house phone. Dead. Sasha didn't leave the house. Didn't eat that day. She sat by the back window for hours. When I asked why, she whispered, "They usually come from the woods." Who? She looked at me for the first time that day. The ones who don't belong here anymore. That evening, the mirrors were covered again. Even the one in the bathroom. But I checked under the cloth when I brushed my teeth. And the mirror was wrong. My reflection blinked when I didn't. Smiled. Even when I didn't move a muscle. I ran back to my room. That night, she left her bedroom door open. Peeked in. There were dozens of little objects on the floor. Hair, buttons, broken pencils, a cracked baby tooth, all arranged in circles, protection circles. I saw it in one of my old books. She was sleeping in the center of them, breathing slowly, but her eyes were half open, and they were glowing. I didn't sleep. I kept my light on, watched my closet all night, because now there were 2 photos, one from the night before, and one from tonight, fresh, still warm, of me, sleeping. And that's when I realized Sasha hadn't taken these photos. Something else had, and it was still inside the house. After that 3rd night, I was done pretending everything was okay. But the house was pretending harder than ever. The lights worked, the floors were clean, breakfast was made, but something inside it had changed. Something behind the walls. I didn't feel safe in my room anymore. I didn't feel safe anywhere. Even Sasha's voice had changed. Calmer, but heavier, like she was tired of holding something back. If you enjoy horror stories that make you question reality, hit that like button and subscribe to never miss a Midnight Whisper. And don't forget to turn on the bell, because what if the next story is about you? Morning number 4. I found her in the basement. I hadn't even realized the door was open. Sasha never allowed me down there. She kept it locked, always, but this time, the lock was broken. The door cracked open, and I swear, I felt a breeze come from inside, even though there are no windows in our basement. I crept down, slow, careful. The stairs creaked, and each step felt colder than the last. And then I saw her, sitting in the dark, on the floor, eyes wide open, mouth closed, hands folded in her lap. She was surrounded by lit candles, 12 of them, each one placed in a perfect circle. In front of her was something worse. A doll, old, dirty, burnt on one side. Its eyes were sewn shut with black thread. And something blood, I think, was smeared across its chest in the shape of a key. She didn't even look at me when I whispered, "Why are you doing this?" Her voice was flat, low. "He's listening now." I ran up the stairs, slammed the door, tried calling my parents again. Still nothing, just a slow dial tone that never connected. Emailed, no reply. Texted, nothing. It was like the house had swallowed the signal, like I was completely cut off. I stayed in the living room all day, didn't even go to the bathroom alone. I waited for her to come out of the basement, but she never did. At sunset, The basement door closed. On its own.
No footsteps. No creaking.
Just click. And when I checked it, it was locked again. But the old lock had no keyhole. 10:38 p.m. I heard Sasha's footsteps. She was upstairs, walking back and forth, back and forth. I called out, "Sasha?" No answer. I climbed the stairs, barefoot, quietly, peered down the hall. She wasn't walking anymore. She was standing outside my parents' bedroom, facing the door, hands behind her back, still, like before, but her head was tilted all the way back. So far back, I could see the underside of her chin, stretched and tense. And then, she started laughing, slow, breathless, a kind of laugh you don't ever forget, like a dying animal trying to mimic joy. I backed away, went to my room, locked the door, pulled my blanket over my head like a 5-year-old, and just waited. 12 o'clock midnight. I heard the scratching again, inside the walls. This time it wasn't coming from the floor. It was inside the wall behind my bed. Something was crawling, and then it spoke. A low whisper. "Not Sasha. Not human. You're not alone, Liam." I froze. Didn't move for what felt like an hour. Eventually the sound stopped, and just before I passed out from exhaustion, I saw something under my door. Another photo. This one was of Sasha, asleep, but in the photo she had no face, just skin, smooth and blank. Day 5, last day. I kept hoping it was the last. I didn't see Sasha until noon. She appeared in the hallway holding an old book, leather-bound, no title. She placed it on the kitchen table and said, "If I disappear, you need to finish the circle." Then she walked away. I opened the book. It was filled with names, hundreds, crossed out, dated, then a list of rules, handwritten in shaky ink. Rules from the book. 1. Never break the circle. 2. Never look into the mirror after midnight. 3. Do not speak his name. 4. Cover every window before sunset. 5. Leave food by the closet on the final night. I turned the page and found something worse. A drawing of my house, exactly as it is now. Same layout, same furniture, but in the center was a mark. A symbol drawn in blood-red ink. A circle with jagged lines piercing through it like thorns. Underneath it, written in tiny handwriting, this house was not built over land. It was built over a wound. I didn't know what it meant, but I knew I wasn't safe anymore. I tried to leave the house. The front door wouldn't open, no matter how hard I pulled. It didn't feel locked, felt sealed, like the air itself was pressing against it. At 6 p.m., the windows started to fog, not from heat, from something breathing on the glass from the outside. I watched handprints appear, small ones, children's hands, one by one, until every window was covered. Sasha came downstairs around 7, carrying a knife, but not like she was going to hurt anyone. She handed it to me and said, "If it finds you, don't let it take your face." Then she walked to the front door and sat, just sat, facing the door, waiting. Final night, 11:56 p.m. Couldn't sleep. The walls were whispering again. Sasha was humming that same lullaby, and something was knocking, not on the door, not on the walls, from inside the attic. Soft, rhythmic thumping, like something pacing, back and forth, back and forth. Then, 12:03, the lights died, the air turned freezing, the humming stopped, and in that silence, I heard it, a breath, right behind me. I turned. No one, but on the mirror, words were written in steam. "She's not who you think she is." I turned back, and Sasha was standing outside my door.
No flashlight. No candle.
Just there, in the dark, face blank, eyes wide. Her voice didn't match her lips, came from somewhere deeper. "He likes your name." She walked away. I didn't sleep, just waited for the sun. And when morning came, I stepped out. The house was cold, quiet, too quiet, and Sasha was gone. No note,
No bag.
no phone,
No footprints.
just gone. I called the police. They searched. They found her shoes in the hallway, her coat on the kitchen chair, and the book gone. But not a single sign she ever left the house.
No fingerprints.
No DNA. Nothing. They asked me questions for days, but I had no answers. And I still don't, because I don't know where she went. All I know is this: the mirror in my room, every night since then, keeps fogging up at midnight, even in summer. And every time, it writes something new. Last night, it said, "You finished the circle wrong." After the police left, I thought it was over. I thought once they didn't find her, maybe she left on her own. Maybe it was all in my head. Maybe the fogged up mirrors, the humming, the photographs. Maybe I imagined it all. That's what the detective said, too. Stress. You're a kid. Your brain fills in the blanks. But then why? Why did the hallway still smell like burnt candles and ash? Why did my closet door open at 12:06 a.m. for the 5th night in a row? Why was there a photo on my pillow that wasn't there when I fell asleep? This time, the photo wasn't of me. It was of Sasha, tied to a chair, head tilted to the side, eyes missing, mouth open, screaming. I dropped it. I ran. Every light in the house flickered at once. The radio turned on by itself in the kitchen, playing the lullaby again. Not a recording, not a track, a live voice, whispering, breathing. The next morning, I noticed something new. The house had changed. Literally. The walls were closer, like the hallways were shrinking. Doors were misaligned. Even the kitchen had one extra drawer that I swear had never been there. When I opened it, it was empty except for a tooth. Not a baby tooth. A molar, with blood still fresh at the root. I started marking the walls with chalk. Little lines to track if they moved. By noon, 4 marks were gone. Wiped clean. I started to wonder, was Sasha still here? Trapped? Hiding? Or had something else come in after she vanished? I went back to her room. Everything was gone, except for a single index card on her bed. Handwritten. "He was never outside. He's been in the house for years." I started crying. I didn't even know why. My body knew something my mind didn't. I curled into a ball on the floor, tried to scream, but no sound came out. And then I heard it, from inside the vents. A voice. Sasha's. "Liam, it's not done with me." I leaned toward the vent, whispered, "Where are you?" Nothing. Then a second voice, colder. "Behind you." I turned. Just the mirror, covered. But the cloth had slid halfway off. I stepped closer, and in that mirror, I saw myself. But behind me, Sasha, smiling. But in the room no one was there. The air changed again that evening. Heavier, thicker. The TV turned on by itself. The screen black, then static. Then a message scrawled across in jagged white letters. "Tonight it chooses." I unplugged the TV. Stayed on. Every clock in the house stopped at 11:53 p.m. Even the digital ones. That's when I knew. This wasn't a haunting. This was a countdown. I tried to stay awake, but something was pulling me. Not sleep, not exhaustion. Something deeper. I blinked, and suddenly, it was dark and cold, and I was standing, not in my room, not anywhere I recognized. The walls were made of wood, rotten,
Beth.
breathing. Yes, breathing. I looked down, bare feet, damp floor, and I wasn't alone. Sasha was in the corner, tied to a chair, just like the photo, her face bruised, her mouth sewn shut with black thread. She looked up at me and begged with her eyes. I tried to run, tried to scream, but I couldn't move. A sound echoed behind me, like meat sliding across wet tile. Then something whispered, "You let me in." I turned, and I saw him, or it, I don't know what to call it. Tall, thin, too many joints, skin like paper stretched over nothing. His head bent sideways, twitching. No eyes, no face, only a mouth. On its chest, white, smiling, breathing. "She gave me her name," it whispered. "But yours tastes better." Collapsed. I felt my body being pulled, but not toward the creature, toward Sasha. Her eyes were glowing. Her wrists were now free. She leaned in, tore the threads from her mouth with bloodied fingers, and screamed, "Run!" The creature wailed, a high-pitched, vibrating howl that shattered every thought in my brain. I fell through the floor, literally, like glass beneath me had broken. I woke up in my bed, soaked in sweat. My nails were torn. My pillow was missing. My feet were covered in mud. I ran downstairs.
No Sasha. No te ve.
No photos.
No smell.
The basement door? Gone. Not locked. Gone. Like it had never existed. I ran outside. The door opened this time. The sun was rising. Birds chirped. Cars passed. The world was normal. But not me. I looked at my reflection in the glass, and I saw her for a fraction of a second. Her eyes, her breath. In my reflection, they never found her. Not a single record of Sasha hiring. My parents said the babysitter's name was someone else. A different woman, one who had never shown up. The police called it a case of confusion and childhood trauma. But I know better. I know what I saw. Last week I got a letter. No return address. Inside was a photo of me, sleeping, and in the corner of the photo, a small handwritten note. "I finished the circle for you, but it still knows your name." I burned the photo. I moved houses, but some nights, around 12:06 a.m., the hallway light turns off by itself. The mirrors fog, and I find another picture on my pillow, this time with me awake in it, looking straight at the camera, even though I was asleep. And that is the last time I ever saw my babysitter, because she didn't vanish. She traded places with something else, and it never left. You stayed till the end. That means you heard her voice too. If you're still awake, don't forget to leave a comment. I heard her whisper, because every night I go through the names, and every morning, one is gone. Tap subscribe before she finds you. He likes your name too.